Alright, Josh here, and today we're starting a new series on the channel. We'll be playing some Pokemon VGC in the 2017 format. Yeah, thought I'd bring it to the channel because it's literally what I play most of the time, so why not? Anyway, instead of just jumping straight into battles, I'm going to, in this video, run through the team. So it's like a team builder, well, not really a team builder, team overview, if you will. Just going to run through what we're using and why we are using it. So I've been using this team for a few weeks. It's been pretty good. We've done pretty well with it. So, first up, Garchomp. This team is very hyper offensive, by the way, just so you know. Garchomp running Groundium Z with Sandvale, not Rough Skin. Why not Rough Skin? I actually don't know. I like Sandvale. Sandvale has helped me so many times in situations where you're facing down, like, I don't know, Gigalith and whatever. I don't know. There was actually one time where I was playing, it came down to Garchomp, literally by itself, versus Gigalith and Porygon 2, and the Porygon missed 2 Ice Beams in a row. It was fantastic. But yeah, so we got this Garchomp with Sandvale and Groundium Z, and we got Protect, Earthquake obviously for the Groundium Z, and because it's its best move anyway, a Poison Jab for those Fairy types, and a Rock Slide. Now the EV spread's pretty straightforward. We've got 4 in HP, Adamant Nature, not Jolly, for once. 252 in attack and 252 in speed, so we're still fast, and we are hitting like an absolute truck, which is the entire point in Garchomp anyway. So yeah, we're not running Dragon Claw because I can't really speed tie with other Garchomps anyway, so it's a bit pointless running Dragon Claw purely for other dragons when I mean I can hit Salamence with Rock Slide, but if I'm facing down a Salamence anyway, I probably want to jump out with Garchomp because we're intimidated, so you know, nobody can stay in. Earthquake, obviously, we need it for that Tectonic Rage, because Muck's pretty good against this team, so we can slam that. Can slam, Tectonic Rage takes out Arcanine. Obviously, Coco can take out, I don't know actually, like, how much does it do to Tapu Fini? It does a lot. I know it can take out Tapu Lele, unless, I don't know unless it's like full HP, full defense with a plus defense nature, but I don't know if that still takes it, I have no idea. And then Poison Jab for those Fairy types, mainly though for Tapu Bulu, because Poison Jab is the only Poison type move we have on this team. So, although obviously Earthquake doesn't do anything when Tapu Bulu is on the field because of the grassy terrain, Poison Jab OHKOs. Unless we're intimidated, and I don't think it does. Maybe I don't know. It depends. I mean, I can say it OHKOs, I can say it does so much damage, but it honestly depends on what you're facing. It depends on the spread of your opponent. So that's the Garchomp. It's pretty much straightforward. The only difference is it's Adamant, not Jolly, which most people run Jolly for the speed, but I didn't see the point. I'd rather have it hit a bit harder. It's very frail anyway. So, but anyway, that's the Garchomp. Then we have our second Z movies. That's right, 2 Z movies on this team. We've got Katana with Titanium Z. For those normal types, the pesky ones like Porygon 2 and Snorlax. Mainly for Snorlax, actually. I built this team like just after Worlds because that Mimikyu Snorlax lead was like super common and it was doing my head in. My old team just had no way around it. So this team actually wrecks it. And Katana's one part of that. Tapu Koko is the other part of that. I'll explain it right now. But anyway, Katana, Fighting Z, Sacred Sword, Leaf Blade detects Smart Strike. Anyway, so if you go up against Snorlax Mimikyu, I'd usually Coco Katana. D-Gleam with Coco, breaks the Disguise on Mimikyu, and then Smart Strike takes it out most of the time. I know it definitely takes out like a full HP max attack Mimikyu. I did actually play one the other day where Smart Strike didn't take it out, so it must have been invested in defense, obviously. Because I know max HP, and then, you know, max attack or whatever, it does OHKO, which is good. Unless, obviously, it's got Focus Sash, which is a nightmare. That ruins this. And unless they switched out the Snorlax for Intimidator, which also makes Smart Strike not OHKO. But anyway, Katana is an absolute beast. It's jolly, so we're as fast as possible. 252 in speed, 252 in attack, and 4 in HP. Don't like those bulky sets. I was actually, you know, before I started using this team, I was convinced that Katana, you could. I don't like those Assault Vest sets or the bulk, any of the Seed sets. It's just a bit silly to me. Maybe some people like it. Maybe it's good, actually, because I thought the Z-move katana was awful as well, but it's actually not. I thought Focus Sash was the only way to go. Fighting Z has come in so handy. It's so good, obviously against normal types. Absolutely killer. And just, actually, I had I played a game the other day and I was at +1, and that Okoda Garchomp, which was pretty good as well. So, Katana is a beast. An absolute beast. Good for Gigalith and stuff like that. I don't actually know how much it does to a Gigalith. Fighting EMC. I actually don't know that. I do not know that calc. I don't know every calc. I don't think anybody does. Anyway, that's Katana. It's, like I said, pretty straightforward. Those are two of the two Z-move uses anyway. Then we've got probably... is it my favourite one on the team? I think it actually might be my favourite one on the team. We've got Tapu Koko, Choice Specs. Tapu Koko, should I say. With Electric Surge, obviously. Then we got Volt Switch, Dazzling Gleam, Thunderbolt, and Nature Power. Why Nature Power over Discharge? There have been a couple of times where I thought Discharge could have been handy, but there's been a few times where Nature Power's really come in handy as well. So Volt Switch is obvious. To be honest, I don't really Volt Switch that much anyway, because Tapu Koko's frail. Like the EVs we've got 4 in HP, max special attack, max speed with Timid Nature. I mean, turn 1, if you try and Volt Switch out and your opponent reads the switch, and you end up getting Old Code, that's just such a waste of a Tapu Koko. Like, you didn't get any damage off, you got knocked out straight away. So if Koko's in real danger, I would just hard switch instead. I think Dazzling Gleam does a lot, especially because of the Choice Specs. Choice Specs Koko's so good, it really makes a difference. Thunderbolt, obviously a staple move. And then Nature Power. Nature Power is an interesting one. Obviously, with the amount of Marowaks and Togedemaru's and whatever, I think those are the only 2 Lightning Rod users, aren't they? Anyway, running around. If I want to go for a Thunderbolt in my terrain, but I am worried about that switch in, I can always switch in Lele and change it to Psychic. I've also used this against... I can't say I've used it against any fighting types, but I did use it against a Nihilego once, and he did a lot. I think he did about 85% or something, but it was really clutch. So that was pretty cool. So Nature Power is good for Thunderbolting when... Because it's Choice Specs, if I Thunderbolt in my terrain, you know, and a Marowak switches in, then it's just a waste. But then if I don't want to switch Koko out, if I want to stay in, I can just switch in Lele and it'll start going for Psychics. If my opponent knows I'm Choice Specs but doesn't know I'm going for Nature Power. Oh no, but they would know I'm going for Nature Power. Ah well. Anyway, my point is Nature Power can come in handy. So yeah, that's Tapu Koko. It's pretty straightforward. Tapu Koko's a bit of a beast, to be honest. Then we've got our Intimidator, Arcanine, with that Figgy Berry. Protect, Extreme Speed, Flare Blitz, and Wild Charge. I was considering Raw. I sacked that off. I wasn't using it very much. And Will-O-Wisp, I wasn't really using that as well. Like I said, this team is like really offensive, so you kind of have to win in... You don't really want it going past like 7 or 8 turns, because that's when this team is... Because it's mostly frail. I mean, Arcanine and Lele are the bulkiest mons, so this is the... I mean, it's not super bulky, but it can tank some hits. So we got 252 in HP, 160 in attack, 92 in special defense, and 4 in speed, just to maybe speed creep another uninvested speed Arcanine. And then Adamant Nature, just for it does a lot of damage. It does a hell of a lot to Celesteela. Doesn't OHKO Celesteela, but it does a good chunk, probably like 80%. If you've already worn it down a bit, that's game. Between Koko and Arcanine, they can handle Celesteela, which is ideal, because if I see Celesteela on the opposing team, I have to bring both. I always bring both. Anyway, so that's Flare Blitz. Extreme Speed is so good. I know it's maybe a little bit silly running Lele and Arcanine. Well, an Arcanine with Extreme Speed with the team on Lele, but honestly, because I've got the Koko Lele, I can switch up terrains a lot, which I really like doing with this team, is changing the terrain. So if you've got Lele and Arcanine, and your opponent's got a really weak mon that you could KO with an E-Speed, then like, oh, well, they can't go for E-Speed because they've got Lele in. Then you switch Tapu Koko in. That can turn a game. And then we've got Wild Charge, which has seen a lot of usage this year. I think it's a good move. If you're facing down a Finny and you have literally no options, Wild Charge it. Just go for it, I think we can live a Muddy Water. 1. I don't think we can live more than 1 Muddy Water, to be honest. Although we have got that Figgy Bay, which is ideal. This Arcanine is obviously that Intimidate's amazing as well. Arcanine's really good for one of my main. Okay, so one of my main answers for like Scarf Garchomp as well. if I'm convinced that it's a Scarf Garchomp and like Lele's down and Katana's down, or I don't know. It depends what I've got, but if you switch in Arcanine, if you get an Intimidate off, then a Dazzling Gleam and E-Speed will do it, and Coco and Arcanine both survive for one Earthquake. Intimidated Coco, well, I don't know if Arcanine can, I don't think Arcanine can live in Earthquake, to be honest. It can Intimidate, and Coco can live on Intimidated as well. But yeah, that's our Arcanine. It is good. I do like this Arcanine. Look at it. I really want a shiny Arcanine, but that's completely off topic. Anyway, Tapu Lele next. Tapu Lele, Life Orb, Psychic Surge, obviously, with... Well, I'll go for the... Well, Psychic, obviously. Moonblast, again, obviously. Protect. And I was going to go Taunt. I did try Taunt. But I sacked it off. And instead, I put Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is so good right now. Because there's a lot of Ghost types running around. Especially Alolan Marowak. And Shadow Ball does about 90% to an Alolan Marowak. Which is... super good. Well, I did face down a Trevenant as well, which Shadow Ball came in handy as well. I'm not sure if it O-code, but it did a solid chunk. So Shadow Ball on Lele is amazing, and obviously Moonblast and Psychic are class moves on Life Orb Lele. But we've got like a slow Lele here. We've got, and I don't want to say bulky, but it is fair. I mean, it can tank some hits. It can take some hits, definitely. We've got 200 HP. Then we got 40 in defense. 252 modest, because I just want it to hit super hard, like I say. Team super offensive. So, and then 16 in speed. That was just to outspeed like some speed creeping Arcanines. And there was something else. There was something it did in Tailwind as well that I can't remember. But there was 16 for a reason. And I can't remember. How informative. Anyway, this can tank some hits. I put the extra kind of in defense because Tapu Lele's special defense stat is pretty good anyway. And yeah, so I just thought I'd try and even it out a little bit, even though, I mean, its special defense is way higher still. But that's it. There's not much else to say about this Lele. Like I say, I use it often to switch in and out with Coco. Another brilliant thing I like to do is, I don't know, let's say you start against I'm just giving you a random scenario right now. So let's say your opponent starts with Hariyama and Tapu Fini, and I've started with Coco and Katana. Let's say they might have a lightning rod user or something. Anyway, you're expecting that fake out. Oh no, let's yeah, okay, let's say that anyway. You're expecting that fake out on either one. So you could go for the Thunderbolt on Finny, or you could go for the Leaf Blade on Finny and just switch in Lele onto either of the slots. They go for the fake out, doesn't work, and they've just lost one of the best mons, like one of the main ones, like straight away the Tapu. You know, it's if you do that turn one, switch Lele into a fake out and KO one of your opponent's mons turn one. You know, that sets you up for like a win, pretty much. Not guaranteed, but you're in a solid position straight away. So Tapu Lele is ace, and with the bulk, it's really good. I know, I mean, it OHKOs Garchomp with Moonblast, but Earthquake doesn't do that much. And I've lived a well, the Garchomp was at Neg 1. We lived a Tectonic Rage at Neg 1 though. Not with a full powered Garchomp. Anyway, that's me Tapu Lele. It's a beast. And then finally, we have definitely the most interesting one on the team, Murkrow, with the Eviolite and Prankster, because Prankster is completely broken. Now you might be thinking it's a bit strange that I'm running Prankster with a Tapu Lele as well, because if you don't know, Prankster doesn't work with Lele's terrain, so you couldn't Prankster taunt something in the Psychic terrain. It doesn't work. That's why I don't have taunt. This is a weird Murkrow. So I'll go for the EVs first and stuff. we got 252 HP, full HP. Then we got 160 in special defense and 96 in defense, because most of Murkrow's threats are kind of special based, with the electric type attacks, fairy attacks. Obviously there are some physical based ones, rock, and there's some it's like wild charge and play rough, for example. But we've got its careful nature as well to boost that special defense, because most of the time it's being hit by like Tapu Kokos and stuff and Tapu Lily, so we just try and live some of that stuff. The Eviolite makes Murkrow surprisingly bulky. It can take some hits. Then the moveset is interesting. We've got foul play because it does I'm pretty sure it OHKOs a +6 Snorlax. It does a chunk to Metagross. I think it does about 90% to Metagross. It really does. And just in case Murkrow does get taunted, we have a move that we can use. So if we're facing down like a Whimsicott and we do get taunted, it's not the end of the... Oh no, but we can't get taunted. No, that's my mistake. If we get taunted by anything, like a Lele, for example, then we've got something to do. We actually can't get taunted by another prankster user like Whimsicott or Sableye, because we are Dark type. Murkrow is Dark type, and Dark types aren't affected by prankster. Good job, I remembered that. Then we have Tailwind. Something that I don't use that often. It's kind of handy in some situations, but honestly, I don't. This Murkrow's very for very specific matchups, as you'll see in the coming weeks. Then we've got Haze. Purely, 100% purely for that Extreme Evo boost. The Eevee, Clefairy, Eevee Smeargle, Eevee Whimsicott, whatever they want to start with. So I wouldn't lead Murkrow against that, because it could get knocked out turn 1, it could get faked out, it could get... I don't know, something bad could happen. I would never risk it. I'd always lead I don't know, you could go... Yeah, I suppose you could go like Lele, Coco, or Lele, anything. I could lead anything against that Eevee team, as long as I switch in Murkrow. Then you switch in Murkrow, your opponent's Extreme Evo boost, it's got all those stats, it's used whatever, it's used Fake Out, it's done whatever, Follow Me even, or whatever it's done, it doesn't matter. Then you just go Haze, because you got Prankster, you're going first. Game, pretty much. Not entirely, I've seen some really decent Eevee teams that can work around that, but if you just get Haze off, it's, most of your opponents just quit after that, to be honest. And then the last move is Sunny Day. Why Sunny Day? Why not Taunt? I mean, Taunt was... I can't really taunt that much, because if I've got Lele, it's just useless. But Sunny Day is specifically for the rain matchup, the double ducks, Pelipper Golduck. This team was super struggling against that, and I was trying to think of ways of doing it. I had Gastrodon. Well, this is before I had Murkrow. I had Gastrodon, all sorts, and then I thought about weather changes, so Gigalith potentially, but even switching Gigalith, if you switch into a Hydro Vortex, it still does a just ridiculous amount. And then I didn't want to use Ninetales because it's too frail. Obviously, couldn't use a Rain Setter as well, because that was the problem. So then I came up with this idea of using Prankster Sunny Day with Murkrow, and it works so good. If the main lead I'd go for that would be like Lele and Murkrow. Then you've got Pelipper Golduck on the opposing side. So Pelipper probably expects a taunt, won't go for Tailwind, probably just goes for a Scald or Hurricane, and Golduck probably just goes... Most of the time, Golduck just goes straight for the Hydro Vortex. So if you chuck that Sunny Day up straight away, Prankster obviously you go first, that reduces the amount of damage by so much. And then potentially, if the Pelipper's gone for a Hurricane, it could potentially miss. Tapu Lele can eat up, has got a decent special defense stat, so it eats up whatever gets thrown at it, basically. And you're laughing. You go for a Psychic that turn as well onto the Golduck. That's a KO'd Golduck. The sun's up, and then maybe the Pelipper does go for a Tailwind. So if the Pelipper does go for a Tailwind, the next turn you just match it with a Tailwind. That really does wreck that team. If you do that turn 1, it's really good. The only problem with that is if you go up against those matchups, that's really good turn 1, but if it's later in the game, they've held that to the back, you've really got to keep Murkrow around, and it's kind of hard to do that when you've got other mons that you don't want to lose either. It's very matchup based, but that's a great way to wreck that lead. It works like a charm, but I'm sure you'll see that. That's such a common lead and strategy that we'll probably face that in the coming weeks. So, like I said, this has just been like a overview of the team. Like I say, it's hyper offensive. You've got to win kind of early on. You don't want these games dragging on. The other thing we don't want to go up is Trick Room. Trick Room, if you go against like solid Trick Room, I'm talking like the only thing I found that this team can do with so many things, but the main thing I know it can't do with, which I maybe could look into changing something, is like Follow Me Trick Room. I went against what was it? I think it was like Lucario Mimikyu the other day. Yeah, Follow Me Trick Room. Couldn't do anything. Trick Room went up, and it was like a super offensive Trick Room. It just wrecked. It wrecked shop. So we don't want Trick Room going up, but the main answer to not getting Trick Room up is just to KO the Trick Room setter. So if it's Mimikyu, we want to be using that Coco Katana for that spread, break the disguise, and then Smart Strike, and just pray it knocks out. If it's something like who else sets Trick Room? Obviously Porygon 2. We're going to get some damage on it with Coco or Lele, and then go for Vitanium Z. Slowbro, again, damage it a bit with Coco. If it's next to a Marowak, you could just Dazzling Gleam and then Leaf Blade with Katana. Trevenant, you could go Coco Lele, Dazzling Gleam, and then Shadow Ball. Pretty sure that KOs. So we have got answers for Trick Room, but it's a case of you need to knock out the Trick Room setter, which is kind of tough. And if Trick Room does go up, you can win with this team, but you have to make some big reads and do some clever switches, because otherwise you're in trouble. But anyway, other than that, this team works out pretty well. So, but I'm sure you'll see in the next couple of weeks we'll have some battles going up sometime this week, later this week probably, and yeah, we'll just use this team for, I don't know, until I come with another team, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks. I've not decided yet, just winging it for the time being. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in a bit.